All right, what's up, everybody? This is Cody, aka DFS Prodigy, coming to you live with a double guest portion of this course with the Travelers Championship with Huntman DFS and Daily Fantasy Talk Show. We're coming here live, just talking about basically the Travelers, breaking it down tier by tier like usual, talking about the course, who we like, who we don't like, who we're going to risk it on, try to win that $1 million, obviously, because if we do, we're obviously going to split it with us three. But again, it's the Travelers. I'm excited about this. What do y'all think of this course, fellas?
So, compared to what we've been seeing the last few weeks, we've been going through a lot of Bombers courses where distance was definitely an advantage for guys like Bryson, Matthew Wolf last week, of course. But, we're really switching it up this week where we're at about 6,800 yards. I think at Kiowa it was about 7,800, which was really, really long. So it's going to be much shorter. I think there's going to be a lot more like hybrids and woods being used off the tee instead of the driver, of course. So definitely going to be something that our course where we prioritize approach and short game.
Exactly. So given this is a P-Dye course,
yeah,
you're good, man. So given this is a P-Dye course, obviously, stroke getting off the tee is going to be key. And then given that the wedge play is also key, so you're going to have to really look at those two things. TPC River Highlands, obviously, we are familiar with your par 76 800 yards, like he was saying. This is definitely an interesting course to play on because there's a lot of water also, which we're going to have to kind of feature on. So what else do you have to add? What else do you have to add, my man? Talk show.
Yeah, it's Pete Dye course, so we get the Pete Dye specialists as always. This is a much shorter course, as Huntman mentioned. It's not going to be all Bryson's up top. You're going to hit those Abraham Answers, Brian Harmons. Those guys are going to be, right in the field this week. So, it's going to be a lot different. And the casuals that just jumped on the train at the U.S. Open, are not going to know what's going to hit them.
Exactly. That's what's going to be key, is that there's a lot of guys that, even this is a non-major, that the narratives for this course is going to be a little bit different now also. And given that the rankings did come out, there's going to be a couple narratives that I do like. But jumping into that 12K to 10K range, we have 5 golfers up here. What do you think of this 5 golfers, man?
So 3 guys that I'm really going to look at are Dustin Johnson, obviously, previous champion last year. Bryson is going to be in my player pool. I wonder what his ownership will be. I know it'll obviously be high, but I wonder if people will be off him because it's shorter and they think he won't really have his advantage. But he's just a guy that I think is always trying to win. Whereas a guy like Brooks, he kind of plays his best in majors, and I'm not sure if his intentions are fully there this week. So Dustin, definitely going to be my player pool, Bryson, and then I'm going to look at Patrick Reed just for kind of an ownership leverage perspective. I do think he will kind of fit pretty well on this course. He doesn't really have to do super great off the tee, but those are going to be 3 guys that I kind of like. And, Patrick Cantlay, he's going to have to be a fade for me this week. What are you guys feeling about this range? Yep.
Wow.
Go ahead, talk show.
Yeah, man. Wow. When you said Cantlay's a fade, I had to shake my head at you because, man, he's really started to turn it around. He had that rough 6-week stretch where he just could not putt. Like, he literally could not play. He lost, I think, like 2 or 3 strokes in like 6 straight events. It was ridiculous. Now he's starting to turn that corner, figuring it out. So. It is a short sample size. It's only been a couple of events, but last week he lost a little bit on approach. But other than that, his ball striking's been great. I completely agree with DJ and Bryson. I got those guys as well. But as far as Patrick Reed goes, he's going to be my fade because he's just so dependent on scrambling, and I don't think it's going to matter as much this week, just because I think guys can go so low. But I think you do have a very good point because he will have probably the lowest ownership in the 10K range. So I can see where you're going with that.
Yeah, exactly. So looking at this course, I do like Dustin Johnson because that narrative that he's not number 1 anymore. So I think he's going to want to play that back and try to earn that rightful spot up top easily. But at 11-4, obviously you're going to find some value. But looking at Bryson every day, like, he wants to win, so I do like him at 11-1. I think that's a nice pivot from Dustin Johnson. Looking at though. Again, the non-major, the mentality that he's carrying is not really what I want to see. That's what worries me, is that given this is just the Travelers, to him, this is just a doesn't really matter course. So he's kind of the odd man out for me. Talking about Cantley, yeah, I did play him when he was awful, so I have to play him when he's good. So he's kind of a guy that I do like up top. I'm taking a shot at him. If it fails me again, then obviously I've been burned by him before, so it wouldn't surprise me if he burns me this week again. But again, I like him. I think he's finally back in normal shape. And then Patrick Reed in this range, I mean, do you trust him? I mean, he has good history here, but again, the inconsistency that he brings to the table is what worries me. So that's why he's kind of my odd man out also. But if I had to rank it, it'd be tough with Dustin Johnson up top, and then with Cantley and Bryson just kind of 1A to 1B. I mean, they're kind of similar to each other in a way. But a good pivot from Patrick Reed dropping down to this 9K range. I do like Paul Casey at 9,900. Who else? Talk to me about Paul Casey, hot man.
I think he's definitely going to be one of the more popular plays this week. His approach game has just been, precise recently. He's definitely one of the best approach games. Yeah, one of the best approach games in the field here. And that's just going to be huge this week. I don't really think around the green game is going to be, that great of a stat, because you're going to have to shoot in the 60s every single day. So if you're not hitting the greens, almost every hole, it's going to be tough for you to compete here. So, approach is going to be big for me. Paul Casey, he's going to be one of the chalkier plays. So if you're playing him in this range, you're definitely going to have to be a little bit different elsewhere. How do you guys feel about Casey this week?
Go ahead, talk show.
Yeah, I mean, Casey's got great history here. I think in this last 6 years, his worst finish is T32. So he's got great history here. He's done literally everything except win the event and miss the cut. But he's been phenomenal here. He's starting to figure out the putter a little bit more. That's obviously where his game lacks a little bit, but if he can get it on the green, get it close enough, he can definitely get that score pretty low. So I definitely like Casey here.
So looking at the rest of this range, I do like Casey. I'm completely in agreement with y'all. I mean, he's a cash play lock, in my opinion. In cash, you just have to absolutely play him. But he's a nice pivot from Patrick Reed and Patrick Cantley in that range. But dropping down to Streelman and Scheffler, those are two guys that I'm iffy on Scheffler, but I could see the course history with Streelman if you want to get to him at 9,400. But the guy I'd rather much go to, is Fiano at 9,200 and Matt Wolff at 93. I mean, Matt Wolff's back in form. I think he has a great style here. I do like him. I do like Fiano. I mean, he's the guy who always gets second, in my opinion, but you can't go wrong with him. But the guy that I do really like in this range that I'm walking and loading on is Abraham Answer. He's just a guy that I cannot get away from. He has a huge upside here. He fits so well with this course. I mean, everything about him, I think, is here for this course, and he is here to play. So he's the guy that I'm walking and loading at 9,100. Who else do y'all like in this range, huh, man?
I really like Scotty Scheffler. I think he's kind of being overlooked this week.
Yeah, I agree.
We know that he can. Yeah, we know that he can shoot low. He shot a 59 last year at TPC Boston, and I guarantee there's going to be at least one guy shooting a 61 or 62 over the weekend, because it's just going to be a birdie fest. So Scotty Scheffler is going to be a solid pivot for me. Abraham Answer is getting a lot of talk as well. I think he's a really solid cash play. You could probably start your cash lineups with Answer and Paul Casey, and have quite a bit of money to work with as well. So Matthew Wolff, we talked about this last week. You're not going to like what I say about it, but it's probably not going to be in my player pool. Just from some of the quotes that he said, he just hasn't really been there, all mentally. And not that that's a bad thing, but it's more so from the gambling perspective. It does worry me on a back-to-back weekend like this. So who knows? He could obviously burn me again like he did, and I'll play him in showdown just so I can feel a little bit better about it. But Scotty Scheffler, Paul Casey are going to be two of the guys in this range for me. How about you, Talk Show?
Yeah, well, Matthew Wolff won't be in my player pool because he did withdraw. He was originally in the field, and I think he withdrew right away. It's been a lot of withdrawal news, so who the hell knows who's actually going to play? I mean, I'm surprised we still have DJ, Bryson, and Brooks, to be honest. But Scotty Scheffler, definitely a guy I'm looking at. Answer, going to be chalky. So I think you could go pivot. Not a lot of people like Streelman's price, and I get it, but he's had 3 straight top 20s, I believe, and he's been playing some really good golf. He's got great history here, and I think if his ownership stays low, kind of like, I've been playing a lot of Hideki recently because he's been that guy in the 9K range that just doesn't carry a lot of ownership. Obviously, he burned me last week after having a great first day, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to win a crap ton of money this week, and then just decides to shoot like +6 in the first 4 holes on Friday, but still made the cut, shot like +9. Sucked. But, I think Kevin Streelman might be that guy this week with the lowest ownership in the 9K range that, honestly, numbers-wise, he should be in the 9K range. Maybe not higher than guys like Tony Finau and Abraham Ancer, but I still think he's a good pivot up here.
What do y'all think of Neiman?
Quick. Man, that's tough. I don't know if
9,000.
Yeah. What do you think, Talk Show? Go ahead.
What were we talking about?
What do you think of Neiman? What do you think of Neiman?
Oh, Neiman. Well, so if he misses the greens, he's going to miss the cut. His around the green game kind of really stinks. So if he's not putting it like right on the green every time, he's going to have a hard time keeping up with the scoring. He's going to be parring and bogeying all over the place. So I'm probably going to stay off him just because I don't know if he can win here. And his path to victory is a lot more narrow than guys like Streelman and Scheffler and those guys.
Yeah, I feel you. What were you going to add, man?
Yeah, sorry. I think, Talk Show, you bring up a good point with Streelman at his price. I feel like a lot of people will see that. He's normally a 7K guy. They'll see that and instantly skip over him. Yeah. But, I think normally these kind of plays are where you can really get sneaky. Reminds me of Harris English a couple weeks ago at the Palmetto. Normally he's about a 7K, lower 8K range guy, and he was up in the 9K that week. And I think even close to 10K as well, and he performed pretty well at the Palmetto too. So I think you bring up a good point. I think Kevin Streelman, especially with his course history and how well he's been playing, is a solid pivot.
Exactly. So then dropping down to this 8K range, there's 10 guys in this range. So looking at the very top, Bubba Watson, obviously the history here speaks for itself. Kind of similar to Streelman. I don't mind him at 8,900 because a lot of people are going to be off of him. But again, course history just speaks for itself here. He has good course history here. Brian Harman, kind of a similar story, 8,800. He's been playing lights out. I mean, I can't say it enough. He's been looking really good. Kevin Smith is kind of my odd man out. I'm not really getting to him, but I can drop down to Charlie Hoffman, who we talk about him all the time, man. Like, he's been shooting lights out also. He's been playing really well. But dropping down to, again, Harris English at 8,200. I don't mind him. I don't mind Russell Henley, 8,300, with the strokes gain approach game that he brings to the table. And then last but not least, Adam Scott, I do like. Who do y'all like in this range, man?
God, there's quite a few good players here. Like you said, there's 10 guys. It's really hard to kind of, pick and choose here. Like you said, Hoffman's been playing really well. I think I might try to hop off that while he's kind of at the, at his peak maybe. If you look at his last, 2 weekends, it hasn't really been his greatest stats wise. I know they've been kind of tougher, especially last weekend with the U.S. Open. But I think Hoffman could still be a good play, but I'll try to probably fade his ownership there. Adam Scott is someone that I'm really considering this week. At $8,000, he's making cuts all the time. I think he'll definitely be in contention, at least give you a top 25. And I think he's being a little overlooked this weekend is Siwoo Kim. I think he's kind of in the middle there. His approach game has always been pretty solid, and I think, like we've been saying, it's going to be really important this week. I'm really looking for flyers that can win the tournament. Yeah, they could probably burn me, but when you're picking, really nitpicking these guys, I want to have guys that can go out and win, not give me a make the cut in the top 40, right? So.
Right.
Siwoo's really risky. I think he'll definitely be in my player pool. I think he'll be a solid play. What do you think, Talk Show?
Yeah. So Harman, I know is going to get a lot of buzz this week because he's a shorter hitter. He's been playing some great golf. Yeah. Though what people don't actually know is he's been losing strokes on approach. Even it really surprised me because he's short off the tee, so you got to figure, if he's doing good, he's got to be good on approach. He's actually lost, I think, 0.9 strokes on approach in the last 24 rounds. So if he misses the green, he's a guy that usually can make it up around the green, but, at that 8.8K range, it's kind of tough for me to say a guy losing on approach, because approach is really important. And on a week where you're going to have to pile up the birdies, I'm just a little afraid that he's not going to be able to keep up. He'll be in my player pool, but I don't think I'm going to be on him as much as the public. Harris English had a great finish last week, hit a couple putts down the stretch, got himself a backdoor third place finish, which I didn't even see him on the leaderboard until he was third.
Exactly.
But yeah, he's definitely starting to turn it around quite a bit. Obviously a great putter, which should help him, be able to keep up with the scoring. And then, as you mentioned, Huntman Siwoo, great Pete Dye specialist. I think he's like the 5th best player in the field on Pete Dye courses, up there with like DJ and Bryson. It's crazy. And he's 8K. So while he's a bit more volatile, golf is a volatile sport, so you kind of have to embrace that. And I'll definitely be getting some Siwoo this week.
Are we both kind of fading Justin Rose and fading Leishman, or are we on those guys? I'm fading both.
They're on my fade list.
Yeah, Justin Rose just looks so bad at the U.S. Open, like +9 first day. I can't pay for that.
Exactly. So I think jumping down, or go ahead, Huntman.
My bad. Quick point. I think you have a good point on Harman. I don't see him shooting -18, -20 this weekend to, be at the top. So, not that he has to be there to, cash for you, but I don't see him really getting all those birdies. I could be wrong.
In cash game, I think that a lot of people are going to be on him. And in cash games, I think if he does do well, you're going to be kind of burned. So in cash games, I think I don't mind throwing him in a lineup or two. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because all the public wants him. As what I can see from ownership-wise, everybody wants him. And so with those kind of lineups in cash, I don't mind throwing a dart with him here and there. But dropping down to the 7K range, this is where we're going to have to really load up on guys. This is where the meat and potatoes are. I know there's a lot of guys in this range. But starting at the kind of the top above 7,500, Higo is a guy that I'm going right back to the well to. Max Homa, I cannot seem to get enough of. I continue to play him every single week. I feel like Keegan Bradley, history speaks for itself here, 7,900. Shingali, I don't mind throwing a dart on. Looking at Doc Redman, Redman's finally coming into form. He's looking okay in this range. Possibly, to a 1 HP3, not really, but I don't mind throwing a dart at him, but I'm not trying to go to Doc Redman. Yeah. Looking at the 7,500 and up, who do y'all like first? Man.
I'll let you go first, Talk Show.
Oh, okay. I was just writing down some notes here because I don't have the DraftKings board in front of me, so I'm trying to listen to what he's saying too. But yeah, Keegan Bradley definitely on my list. He's kind of figuring out that putter. The last miscut that he missed, I think it was 5 strokes around the green or something like that, which was one of his worst performances in his career. So I'm willing to bypass that. Memorial can be a tough tournament to play, so I'm really happy going right back to Keegan Bradley. I think he could win the tournament. He has that volatility where he can actually, get up there and win. As far as Higo goes, he's just kind of, I don't know. I feel like since he got his win, everyone's hyping him up, but we don't really know who he is yet. He was great on the Euro Tour, of course, but, at the U.S. Open, obviously, we saw, he's not a great birdie maker on those tough courses. And if he can keep up this week, that's kind of what it's kind of like a Harman situation. Like, can he keep up with the field? And then Max Homa, I'm completely on board with you there. Love Max Homa. Obviously, his Twitter game is more fire than his golf game, but definitely love both of them. So Max Homa is going to get a check mark for me.
What about you, Huntman?
Yep. I agree with Keegan Bradley. I think he's going to be one of the chalkier plays as well. I think everyone's going to have to really make a decision on him. His approach game is, again, great. His putter has actually been improving throughout the year. I think he's a solid play. It's going to be tough for me. I still have a little bit of time to make my decision on him. I agree with you on Higo. I think this is a great week to see who he is and, some of his stats, see who he is as a player. I'm probably going to be away from him just because I think I agree with you at Talk Show. He's just got a lot of hype right now. And, I'm really trying to get better at lowering my ownership on guys or getting lower on guys, especially in GPP, of course. So Some guy, I think he's getting a little bit of talk, I guess, but Sam Burns, if you pull up his game log, he's got 2 horrible stains on his game log, and they're both majors. He's not ready for those big boy courses, but I think at a course like this, shorter course, I think he definitely, has the game to compete here. We've seen him win before. We've seen him.
So speaking of Sam Burns, basically what he was trying to say is before it got disconnected was that he doesn't have the upside at these majors, but at these smaller courses, I think he does do well. Looking at Sam Burns, I don't mind going to him at 7,700. But like you said with Keegan Bradley, I do like him. I think he shows moments of upside. I think he's flashy. I don't mind him at all. But possibly looking at, what do y'all think of Phil Mickelson? Do you like him at all or no? Talk show. Fade him?
Nah, I'm off the Phil train. He had his moment at PGA, but I think the hype's kind of dying off of him, and I'm kind of off of him just because I don't think he has the upside to win again. I think he just had his 1 week. He had a great approach game, great around the green game, but I don't know if he is going to be able to make enough birdies to stay with the field here.
Exactly. So starting with the 7,500 and below, Jason Day is a guy I don't trust. Yeah, I don't trust him. Aaron Wise, I'm not really feeling at this course. Poulter is a no-go for me. There's a lot of guys in this lower now 7,400 range that I'm not really looking to, but there's a couple guys that I'm looking at. Specifically, I don't mind looking at Grillo. I cannot go back. I mean, I have to go right back to the well with him. He's had 3 completely. He's not missed the cut in 3 straight times here, so I do like him at 7,300. Looking at Brendan Todd, we know that history speaks for itself here also. He almost won it last year. I don't mind him at 7,300. I know Ricky Fowler, you want to talk about talk show, so go and sell me on Ricky Fowler.
All right. My guy, Ricky. We share the same name, so, that also adds a little bit of hype. But, no, he's actually, in the last 2 events, I know it's a small sample size, but he's starting to turn it around a little bit. He's finding the putter. He changed his swing back to his original swing. He did that before, I believe, the PGA, and went back to his old self instead of trying to figure out, I don't know what he was trying to figure out, but he had changed his swing for so long. Finally went back to the original swing that made Ricky Fowler. And if he can keep that putter, I think he can keep up with the field. I think he's a low price guy who can win the event, which, I know Huntman touched on this. You want a guy who can win the event. And Ricky Fowler is not a name that would shock me at the end of the weekend if he won the event. My bold prediction for the week is Ricky Fowler gets his first win, and he finally gets back to the Ricky Fowler we all know and love.
Bold take.
Yeah, I'm going bold this week on Ricky Fowler. If it burns me, it burns me. You can put me on the freezing cold takes, whatever. But, I really like me some Ricky Fowler this week. I'll be getting probably a good 50% in my 20 maxes or more.
Just because I'll have the same names, that's why it's biased, obviously.
Okay, well, that's part of it.
Exactly. What do you think of this 7,500 range and below, Hot Man?
I'll keep it short just in case I disconnect here. I like Stuart Sink. Yeah, that's my bad. I like Stuart Sink a lot. He's won this event twice, to my knowledge. It's been a while, of course, but he actually, I think he has 2 wins so far this year, and I've been on that Sink train for a while. So Sink for me, and then Guido. He gained 4 shots on approach last week, and I think he gained 4 shots, I believe, off the green, around the green, excuse me. So another guy kind of like Higo that we don't really know much about, but I'd rather be early on him than late. So.
Exactly. Dropping down to this lower kind of 7K range, Hadley, Desire, Ortiz, there's not really many guys I want to take a shot on. If I had a pick in this range where I wanted to go this low, it would be Ches Reavie. I think he's a great value play. I think the history again speaks for itself here. I don't mind him. He can bounce back here. I don't mind it. And then Stanley, I don't mind taking a shot at 7,000 either. He just needs to get his stroke skin approach game in check. But dropping down, do y'all like anybody else in this kind of lower 7K range before we go to the lower value? Anybody?
Yeah, you mentioned Stanley. I think he was good. I think he, back when he was like, 6,100 at, what was it, Palmetto or the event before, something like that, where he was super chalk and played pretty well there. I know Huntman touched on Guido. I love me a guy who can gain 4 strokes on approach in his first event, and with it being a major, that's pretty damn impressive. So that's a sticky stat. I think if he keeps that and doesn't have the letdown after the major, I think he'd be fantastic. I know Cody touched on Aaron Wise, how you didn't like him. I'm actually on the other side of it. I kind of do, just as a lower owned pivot.
Mm-hmm.
I think his approach game is very good. I think he's been in good recent form for, this is the longest we've really seen Aaron Wise perform this well, especially in that approach game. But as far as it goes with that lower 7K range, you're going to have to pick and choose who you want the chalk. Do you want the chalk in Grillo and Guido? Because I assume both those guys are going to be a good 15 or higher percent owned. So getting those pivots like Wise, like Stanley, like Ricky Fowler is going to be really important this week because we know there's going to be a lot of chalk.
What do you think, man?
I'll just throw one more name out there. Mackenzie Hughes had a great week last week. We kind of talked about him a little bit at the top here. And he actually finished really well here last year as well. I think he was the first round leader, if not really close at the top. And he was, I think, top 5, top 10 as well. So don't quote me on that, but I do think he will be a solid play at, I believe, 7,100.
Yeah, looking at that, dropping down to this lower kind of 6K range, there's going to be a few guys I like down here, but I'm going to keep it short. Keith Mitchell has a decent skill set here. I don't mind his upside here at all.
Yeah.
The guy that I do want to talk about for a hot minute is Lipsky. I think he's going to be a lone pivot that I do like. I think he's finally coming into form. We've seen him on the Corn Ferry. If the casuals don't know who he is, but guys who kind of know golf, we've seen him on the Corn Ferry and Euro Tour just light it up. I do like the upside that he brings to the table. I think in this player pool of guys, he can easily get it done here. So I don't mind getting a top 10, top 20 on him. And then Troy Merritt, I don't mind him as a price tag. He's a cheap guy. I mean, just kind of a guy that or Troy Merritt, I think you just need him at 6,800. I don't mind him at all. Well, I'm not getting to really anybody else in this range. You have to obviously, these are guys where you just want them to make that cut. And I think those 3 guys are key guys that can make the cut. What do you think, man, of the lower range?
Yep, I like what you said on Lipsky. I think he's getting his PGA card here pretty soon, actually. So he'll be a kind of a normal face on the tour. Great Corn Ferry player. I think he'll be a solid play for his price. I kind of like Matthew Neesmith. I think Pat Mayo says it all the time. You want to look for guys in this range that specialize in a specific, stat. And Neesmith is really good at approach. So he's going to be some guy that's definitely going to be in my player pool. Otherwise, there's a lot of guys that are decent, but it's really hard to, pick and choose who's going to make the cut and perform for you. So Neesmith, Lipsky are going to be 2 guys. Who do you think, Talk Show? I don't want to say too many names.
Oh, no, you're good, man. Lipsky, I was literally writing down Lipsky as you were bringing him up, Cody. So that was great timing there.
I love him, dude.
Troy Merritt, another guy who doesn't hit it very far, but here you don't need to. His approach game's been very good. He's got, I think, 2 top 7s in his last 4 events, so he has the upside to definitely get it done if he needs to. And then you guys didn't mention our guy Vincent Whaley at 6,400. Are you mad at him that he burned y'all last time? Because, man, he made, 13 straight cuts before that? At 6,400, that's all you need. He's finished between, I think, T26 and T35 for like 13 straight weeks. And then everyone jumped on him, and then he missed the cut at Palmetto. I'm fine going right back there because there's going to be people who are mad at him still for missing the cut last time. And his ownership, instead of being like 20%, which it was then, will be maybe 10 to 15, which still isn't great. But, if you want to get those stars and scrubs lineups this week and get, Cantlay and Bryson or DJ and Cantlay, guys like that in there, you got to find the deep dive guys. And Vincent Whaley's a guy who has proven he can make the cut. And I think he lost like 5 strokes on approach, which is why he missed the cut last time out. But, he hasn't been doing that consistently. So I'm willing to go right back there.
Yeah, exactly. Do y'all like anybody else down here before we wrap this up, fellas?
No one that really catches my eye. I think you have a great point with Whaley, though. Can't be biased in DFS, especially PGA DFS. So you're right. Lower ownership this time. He'll be, $1,000 cheaper than last time as well. So until he burns you at least twice, I think you have to go back to him.
How are you gonna talk about being biased when you talk about Matthew Wolff?
Yeah, and my Patrick Cantlay bias, that's kind of getting the best of me sometimes too. So I think I'll probably consider the Cantlay one. I'm not sure about the Wolf.
Remember, he withdrew, so don't put him in your lineup.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't even think he's available on DraftKings anymore. I think he was priced at like 9,300, and I think they took him off.
I must have missed that. So.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't been home, but like I said, fellas, this pretty much wraps up the show for us guys. We broke it down tier by tier, broke down the course. So if y'all have any questions, obviously come tweet out to Fantasy Talk Show, tweet out to Hotman DFS. Come hang out in the Discord with us. We're talking golf all day, every day. So if y'all have any last minute questions, obviously just find us one of the places there, Twitter, Discord, anywhere. So, but that wraps up the show for us guys. Again, thank y'all for tuning in. I hope everybody has a good and safe rest of their day. Have a good one, everybody.